I think most people believe they're already using AI pretty well. They ask ChatGPT a question, it writes an email, it summarizes an article, maybe it helps with a proposal. And honestly, 6 months ago, that was enough. It isn't anymore because something new is happening. We're moving from AI that answers questions to AI that actually does things. That's the shift. And it's called AI agents. Now, before you click away because the word agent sounds technical and slightly terrifying, I promise you it's much more simple than what people make it sound. In fact, you've already hired agents in your real life multiple times. You just didn't call them that. An estate agent, a travel agent, a recruitment agent. You tell them what outcome that you want, they figure out the steps, and that's basically an AI agent, just not a real person doing it. And over the next few years, I think the gap between the people who understand this and the people who don't is going to become very, very expensive. Because businesses that learn to delegate work to AI won't just save time, they'll operate completely differently. So in this video, I'll explain AI agents in plain English, show you what they actually are, how they are different from chatbots, and give you practical examples you can immediately understand. No coding either, no jargon, no diagrams that look like they belong to a science textbook, just practical business thinking. So let's get into it. Let's imagine that you ask ChatGPT, how do I make a cup of tea? And it tells you, boil the kettle, get a mug, add tea, pour water, done. Very helpful. But who still has to do everything? You do. Now imagine you tell somebody, I'd like a cup of tea. And they walk into the kitchen and notice that there's no tea bags. They find another box and realize that you've got guests. 4 cups instead, bring in biscuits, that's different. You give them an outcome. They handled the process. That's what an agent is there to do. And that's honestly the biggest mental shift. Chatbots will answer, agents will act. A chatbot waits for instructions, an agent keeps moving towards the goal. Think of it like this. A chatbot is like asking somebody for directions. An agent is like hiring somebody to drive you there, or gives you information. The other takes responsibility. And that difference is huge. I think people hear AI agent and imagine some sort of digital employee walking around the internet with a billion decisions. And it's not that. Most useful AI agents are incredibly boring. And boring is very good because boring problems will exist everywhere in your life and business. Imagine every single Monday morning you check your emails, you review customer feedback, you look at analytics, you create a report, you summarize a meeting, you update your team every single week, again, and again. An agent loves this kind of work because it's repetitive, predictable, structured, reviewable. Those are the kind of sweet spots. In fact, here's a really easy, simple framework. Whenever you're wondering whether something could be an agent, ask yourself 3 questions. Is it repetitive? Does it happen frequently? Can I clearly see if it's done properly? If the answer is yes, there's a very good chance an AI agent can actually help you. Not everything should become an agent though. A strategy meeting? Probably not. Difficult negotiations? Probably not. Hiring a senior leader? Probably not. But collecting information, organizing it, creating first drafts, monitoring systems, producing reports, absolutely. That's where agents become incredibly useful. Let's use a practical example, like a chatbot. Write me a LinkedIn post about leadership. Done. Job finished. Agent. Every Monday morning. Review the industry news. Find 3 relevant stories. Study my previous posts. Draft new content ideas. Write a post in my tone. Schedule it for tomorrow. Can you see the difference? One response versus an entire mission. The mission contains multiple different decisions, multiple steps, multiple actions, and that's what agents are really, really good at. They're less like Google, less like ChatGPT, and much closer to having incredibly capable assistant basically sitting beside you all of the time. It's not replacing your thinking, right? It's extending it. I think that's why people get so excited about agents. They can remove entire categories of workload, and that changes how a business can operate. Now, let's open the bonnet without getting too technical. Imagine you're planning a dinner party. 6 friends are coming over. Suddenly, you're playing 4 roles. One part of your brain says, what do people actually want to eat? Another says, what's the plan? Another says, let's buy everything. And another says, have we forgotten anything? That's basically an AI agent. It usually has 4 jobs happening at once: an observer, a planner, a doer, and then a checker. And imagine that you own a business. Every single Friday, you want to know what customers complained about, what products sold best, what problems keep appearing. An agent can look at that information, spot patterns, create a report, check it if it makes sense, and then deliver it to you. You didn't write the report, you didn't organize the information, you didn't analyze the trends. You simply assigned the job. And honestly, I think that one of the biggest shifts happening in business right now, we're moving towards doing the work to basically designing the work. And that's very, very, very different. And here's where it gets a little bit interesting for me. A normal automation follows instructions. An agent adapts. Let's imagine that you've created an automated grocery order, right? For example, every Friday you buy a chicken, vegetables, buy drinks, simple. Now imagine the chicken is unavailable. Oh my God. You've got 6 friends visiting, someone's vegetarian. The normal automation breaks. It doesn't know what to do. An agent starts thinking, no chicken, find alternatives. More guests, increase qualities. Vegetarian, adjust the menu. That's why agents feel more intelligent, because they're not blindly following steps. They're trying to achieve outcomes. And honestly, this is exactly how good employees will behave in your business. You don't want someone who simply follows instructions. You want someone who notices problems and then adapts. And that's why agents feel so different from previous software. They're so goal-driven, not instruction-driven. And that changes everything. Now, here's the dangerous bit. Agents can also make mistakes faster than humans because agents basically amplify thinking. Good thinking becomes more powerful, 100%. Bad thinking becomes more dangerous. Imagine I tell a employee, sort my emails, terrible instructions, what counts as important, what should be delegated, what needs replying to. It's vague. Now imagine I say, every single morning, I want you to read my emails, prioritize urgent messages, draft the replies into routine requests, flag anything from customers, much better straight away. The difference here is it's not even intelligence. It's just easy baseline clarity. Most agents will fail not because of technological problems, the human problems. The human wasn't clear, which is why I always say you are not getting replaced. But the goal wasn't specific enough. The outcome wasn't defined. The process wasn't understood. And honestly, I think that's why AI is so fascinating, because it can act like a mirror. If your thinking is messy, the agent will become messy. If your processes are messy or excellent, the agent will become extraordinary. AI forces you to become a better thinker, which is probably not what most people expect. I don't think the biggest opportunity in AI agents are giant robots replacing entire companies. I think they're much smaller and much more practical. A client onboarding agent, a research agent, a meeting preparation agent, a reporting agent, a content repurposing agent, a customer feedback agent. These are incredibly specific problems. They're also very painful problems because people repeat them every single week, and that's where money lives. Find something people hate doing repeatably. That is probably an agent opportunity sitting there straight away. And honestly, I think that we're going to see businesses with dozens of small agents quietly handling work in the background. And they're not going to be replacing humans. They're going to be freeing humans, like what AI has done for me. So they can spend more time on judgment, on creativity, on relationships, on strategy, and most importantly, decision making. The things humans are brilliant at, right, which is never going to be replaced by AI. It can be supported by it, but it's never going to be replaced. If you remember one thing from this video, right, remember this. A chatbot will give you answers. An agent takes ownership of the outcomes. That's the difference. We're moving into a world where intelligence becomes incredibly cheap. Information becomes abundant. Output becomes almost infinite, which means something else, right, becomes more valuable. Judgment, taste, clear thinking, knowing what work actually looks like, knowing when to trust technology, and knowing when a human still needs to be involved. Ironically, I think AI agents are going to make almost work feel more human because they're going to remove repetitive stuff that nobody enjoys doing anyway. And the people who learn to basically direct agents won't necessarily be the most technical people. They'll simply be the people who understand work deeply enough to delegate it properly. That's the opportunity. And honestly, I think that we're only just getting started. Right, so hang on before you click off. Here's a big thing that people get backwards. They've got AI everywhere and a system nowhere. So I've got a system called Titan Code OS, and it gives your business one central brain, one operating system, and then we hand you the copy and paste SOPs so you can build your own independent cloud system setup around it as well. That's what real predictable growth is. AI intelligence doing the heavy lifting behind the scenes, and you excelling in where your genius zone is, and having everything in your business centralized in one spot rather than information sheets, IP, and everything all over the place. And I'd love for you to find out more about what we do in the system that we have. And all you need to do is apply for the link in the description. I read every single one personally. If you're not subscribing, please subscribe. I'd love more support on this channel. I'd love more people to see these videos, and I hope to see you on the next one.